FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. You might even be watching us on YouTube as well. And I'm Kerry Lutz. And, well, we're doing end of the year reviews with a number of our sponsors out there. Today, we've got our good friends, Marshall Koval and Scott Hicks. We're talking about the Lumina Group, and in particular, 2 companies under that umbrella. You all know the Lumina Group and the success story that we've witnessed there over the years, many-fold return to investors. Right now, we're talking about Lumina Gold and Luminex Resources, and you can find the ticker symbols in the show notes here. I'm not going to bother to repeat them. And as far as finding them on the web, there's Luminex Resources and Lumina Gold, both .coms. And Marshall, Scott, it's great to have you guys back. I've really been looking forward to this interview to get the latest update. It's end of the year, things are going crazy, but Marshall, you've got some interesting things on the horizon here. Why don't you just briefly give us an update on the Lumina Group and those 2 companies in particular? We've got potential sales taking place. So tell us what's going on.
Hey, Kerry, great for having us, and say hello to all your viewers and wish them good holidays coming up. Yeah, the end of the year, this has been a crazy year within the Lumina Group, but we've managed to make a lot of progress along the way. So let me talk first about Lumina Gold. We completed a PEA update on Lumina Gold. We substantially increased the economics in the PEA. We're advancing the project. We're continuing to work on permitting and some of the aspects with the communities and such. But Ross Beaty, our primary shareholder, our largest shareholder, had come out publicly early last year, pre-COVID, and talked about how we wanted to execute on the Lumina Group strategy, which is to take these big projects, add value, de-risk them, and then sell them on to somebody that would build the company. So that's kind of where we sit right now. And, hopefully in 2021, we'll have some good news as far as how the Cangrejos deposit moves forward into the future for shareholders and, the Ecuadorian country. Also, Luminex, we've made significant progress at Luminex. And Luminex, we have next year in 2021, we'll be drilling on 5 different potential projects. The Condor project, which we're moving towards a PEA right now. The Cascas, which is a discovery of a gold-copper system, BHP at Tarqui, and also Anglo-American at the Pegasus project. That's the primary focus. And we're doing engineering work at Condor. So, we've come a long way in the last year, and we're really looking forward to the work going forward.
All right. So, you got so much going on. It's really hard to keep track of everything. But the good thing is it's all good news and it's all moving forward. So as far as what's ahead for the year, you're basically executing the plan.
Yeah, we're executing the plan. And, Cangrejos is in really good shape, and that's moving forward. And I think what we'll see in the first half of next year in Luminex is we'll probably be in the point where we'll have at least 4 different drill projects going, and hopefully some new copper discoveries. We're really excited about the potential at Cascas. BHP, we're the operator there. BHP's the operator at Tarqui, and they're planning to be drilling in the first quarter of next year. That's a really good copper deposit. And then Anglo, later in the first half of the year, hopefully we'll be drilling at Pegasus. And all this is, the targets have been identified, preparation to get in and start the drilling campaigns is underway, and we'll continue as operator to do more drilling at Condor and advance engineering studies. We're drilling there right now for metallurgy testing, and we've initiated initial engineering programs at Condor. So we're really excited about that. Scott may have some comments to add over my general overview there.
Yeah, I mean, for those of your viewers, Kerry, that have been following the names, and, I know we've been on the show a couple times, they might have seen the press release that came out in late October there, where Ross had put in a $5 million credit facility to support Lumina Gold. And, really that was to, allow us to continue our strategy of pursuing, selling the asset, like Marshall said. Obviously, 2020 hasn't gone as fast as any of us might have liked, but, we think that we have a pretty good shot at executing on that strategy of getting the assets sold. And, Ross putting that $5 million credit facility in place as the largest shareholder who owns 20% of the company really shows, his ongoing support of that strategy and his belief that we'll be successful. I think that's kind of the interesting upside potential on Lumina Gold for your listeners there. And like Marshall says in Luminex, we've seen the market swing a little bit here. Obviously, copper's had a great run lately. We're fortunate to have 20% of the Cangrejos asset be copper and Lumina Gold, and then have these three really exciting copper porphyry targets in Luminex. So I think we're well positioned for the way the market seems to be moving these days.
So you think that, Scott, 2021 will see some major catalysts take place that hopefully will be realized value of them by the market?
Yeah, that's our belief. Yeah. And we think we've been waiting patiently for the majors to drill in Luminex, but, they're finally at that stage. And obviously, COVID had delayed them, but, it's going to work out that it lines up with our drilling at a copper target as well. So, in the next kind of 7 months here, you're going to have 3 copper porphyries being drilled, which could totally change the dynamic of the company. We're only kind of a $70 million market cap company, and that value is really underpinned by the 5 million ounces we already have at Condor on the gold project side. So, we think any of those 3 properties being successful will be a huge catalyst. And also, obviously, if we are successful in selling Lumina Gold, we think that a lot of people that have been in that name for a while will continue to support us and maybe roll over some of that capital into Luminex.
All right. And so as far as the sale of Lumina, what are you looking at there?
Yeah, sure. We've done a fairly big canvas of potential buyers this year, and there's lots of different kind of pockets of the world to look into. We're obviously looking to get an above market premium that your listeners might be used to. For a variety of reasons, these gold developers have been trading more cheaply lately, and we have seen those premiums increase over the last year to get deals done where they have been done selectively. So, I think 2021 will open up for a lot of people, not just us. Once the travel starts to pick up and people can do the DD they need to do. So if that valuation gap continues, I think we'll see some above market premiums. So that's the potential there for the returns.
It sounds really promising. And Marshall, as far as COVID slowing things down, it's still obviously going on. What's going on in Ecuador as far as COVID response at the present time?
So Ecuador was hit pretty hard early on in sort of March and April. And we stopped work for a bit just to get our COVID protocols in place. And for instance, in May, we went back to work drilling at our Condor project, and we've been able to continue to work all the way through the pandemic. We're currently drilling. We've been continuously drilling through May. So, we're a smaller company. We're able to work and get our protocols in place, and we've been able to continue to operate. The country is moving into the summer season down there right now. And so they have COVID across the country, but, most of the mining companies have been able to get their protocols in place and continue to operate, companies like Lundin Gold at Fruta del Norte. And I was just on a call yesterday with the Canadian ambassador to Ecuador, with all the CEOs that are operating Canadian companies down there. And most all the companies have been able to continue to operate or are in operation now. So, I think, it's been deemed an essential industry, mining in Ecuador, as far as the COVID pandemic goes. So, we've been able to move around. We've been able to bring people into the country and, continue to operate as normal as you can with the pandemic. One of the real side benefits was at both Luminex and all of our properties and communities and Congrejos with our communities there, we really strengthened our position with the communities as far as being a reliable partner. We've done a lot to help them in their communities with the protocols and health issues. And, we've helped them with food. And, a lot of these are remote communities that are away from much government support. So by default and by our own, the right thing to do, we've worked real closely with the communities and strengthened those bonds.
And Marshall, you've been at this game for many decades now. You've thought you had experienced every possible scenario, probably up until this year. And then this COVID thing comes out. And maybe this is the true test of able management, that you're able to keep going when so many countries have shut down, so many industries, so many businesses around the globe, and yet you guys keep going. And I just got to wonder, when you were in school learning about all the various things in mining that can go wrong, this has got to be the furthest thing from your mind.
Yeah, pandemic was never on the study list, so it's been a tough one. I think that's where a lot of these junior companies have the advantage over mid-tiers and majors, and I'm not knocking mid-tiers or majors. We're smaller groups, we're smaller corporate teams. We have resources in these countries, and the thing that I mentioned earlier is we just pulled back and stopped, got our act together, put protocols in place. And in our Condor camp and our Congrejos camp, which are our two most active camps, we've not had COVID in the camp. And we put rigorous sort of controls in place. And we had rotation of community workers coming into the camp, and 30 days later they'd leave, or 15 days, whatever it was. So they were tested before they left. They were tested before they came back in. And, we have doctors on staff that in these camps. So we've been able to get ahead of the pandemic, and it slowed us down some, but we were able to continue to work through it safely. And that's a testament to a lot of our people on the ground that are dealing with this day to day in the company. We have really good people in Ecuador.
Yeah. And I guess probably COVID has had some impact upon valuation too, as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, Scott, maybe that's one for you to give your view on.
Yeah, we saw the big dip in March, obviously. And, I think a lot of names that are more liquid and larger have come back. We saw the run up in gold, obviously, in July and August. I think the more recent pullback kind of caused an outsized down dip, when gold kind of went back to the 1800 level. Even on large names, we saw, just an outsized reaction. So things have stabilized now. And I think, we've seen gold hold that 1800 level and bounce pretty strongly off it. So I'm confident that, in the new year, we get a lot of people coming back to the sector with eyes on gold for next year.
Right. And obviously, these are development projects. So the price of gold doesn't have all that great impact, but it does have some. But at $1,800 plus gold, these projects are still, and $3.50 copper, these projects are still extremely attractive.
Yeah, what it's done is, it really helps obviously on the backdrop of trying to sell Lumina gold. It really helps from that side. We ran our study at $1,400 gold and $2.75 copper, and that was a $1.6 billion NPV. But at spot prices at $350 and, say $1,800, we're kind of around a $2.9 billion NPV. So, from people looking at the project perspective, obviously a stronger metal price helps us. But you're right, the 17 million ounces in the ground aren't going anywhere right now. So, we're not affected by it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and one other thing to add there, Kerry, obviously metals are cyclical. One of the things about the work that we did last year where we added the Gran Bestia deposit to Cangrejos, the satellite deposit, is we extended the mine life to 25 years in the PEA. And, that's pretty important in the context that you can survive multiple metal cycles, with that long life, large project like that. So, that's another real benefit to this story for a potential acquirer.
All right. Well, it sounds like the Lumina Group really has its eye on the ball. It sounds like you've got your act together, and we're going to look forward to some major catalysts taking place in the coming year, which is really exciting. And investors, hey, if they've invested in any of the Lumina Group's companies up to now, there's a certain patience level that you might not have in other juniors. And that gives you some staying power and the ability to really follow your plan regardless what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's right. Most of our largest holders have been, heavily invested in the group since 2003, and followed Ross and followed Marshall and Leo. So, that's gives us a great access to capital and gives us some very patient shareholders. So, hopefully those shareholders will be rewarded here in the near term.
Yeah, well, if it's anything like what's happened in the past, I think that's a foregone conclusion. Gentlemen, Marshall, Scott, thanks so much for coming on, giving us an update. We really have a lot to look forward to in 2021. It's going to be a volatile and very turbulent year by all accounts, but we'll look forward to seeing what the Lumina Group has to offer, and hopefully the values really being finally reflected in the share prices. Make sure you go take a look at the show notes, get the stock symbols, and you can always get more information by going directly to the websites. Of course, Luminex Resources is luminexresources.com and luminagold.com. Guys, thanks so much for coming on. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to a great 2021. Thanks, Kerry.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.